Long time ago, turbo on the back of a Porsche meant one thing, that the engine was turbocharged. Clear and simple. Then came emission norms and all of Porsche's engines got turbocharged. Apart from the motorsport-inspired GT3 and GT4 engines, everything else is turbocharged, including the Boxster, the four-cylinder engine, that too is turbocharged. And then came the electric cars, and that too got the turbo badge. So today, in the Porsche world, turbo means the absolute top, the pinnacle of the range. Today, we have the Panamera Turbo S, the fastest Panamera. And then out there, we have the Taycan Turbo S, the fastest electric car that Porsche makes. Which should you pick, the ICE or the EV? That's what we're going to find out in this video. But before we go ahead, you know the drill. Don't forget to give us a shout out, share this video with like-minded enthusiasts, give us a like, and of course, hit that bell icon to stay notified for all our video drops. We start with the Panamera because this is what we are used to. We are used to the internal combustion engines. But what am I saying? This really is not what we are used to. This has got 621 bhp, 820 Newton meters of torque. You stick it into Sport Plus, left foot on the brake, right on the gas, launch control activated, and it does 0 to 100 in 3.1 seconds. You keep your foot in and it will do a top speed of 315 kilometers per hour. This is not just a super saloon. This is supercar beating territory in terms of performance. This acceleration, it wins you. It just takes the breath out of your tummy and gives you a bloody headache. It's insane the way it grips. Obviously, this has got four-wheel drive. In fact, on this particular car, there are a ton of options. There is active rear wheel steering, there are active anti-roll bars, there is torque vectoring plus, and it can control all that power, all that mass. This car, it sets a 7 minute 29 seconds lap time around the Nürburgring Nordschleife. But that is one aspect of this car. The second is the way it goes round corners. Of course, it's brutal. And you do have to slow down for speed breakers. Particularly since I am in Sport Plus mode. But all that brutal acceleration, all can be harnessed really well. If anything, this V8, this thunderous V8, is a bit too muted, a bit too silent. I have got it stuck in Sport Plus. I have got the Sport exhaust on. In fact, the Sport exhaust is a 6.8 lakh rupee option. 6.8 lakh rupees for the Sport exhaust. And I think this is a good time to just take a pause and run you through all the various options that are there on this car. That takes the price from 2.4 crore rupees all the way to 2.8 crore rupees. So 40 odd lakhs in terms of options. What all can you slap on this particular car? Let me show you. So the GT metallic paint, that is 7 lakhs 29,000. Sport design package in carbon for 14 lakhs 39,700 rupees. Air outlet trims in carbon for 2 lakhs 41,000. Model designation on the doors for 42,700. Model designation painted in black for 48,800. Sport exhaust system including the tailpipes in black for 6 lakhs 93,000. 21-inch wheels for 2 lakhs 91,000. Tinted LED main lights with matrix beams plus Porsche dynamic light system for 3 lakhs 18,000. Exclusive design tail lamps for 1,70,000. Sport chrono package with Porsche design clock for 2,11,000. Porsche crests on the headrest for 92,700. Exclusive design gear selector for 1,68,000. Model logo embossed on the armrest for 95,000. Park assist including the surround view camera for 1,73,000. 18-way electrically adjustable adaptive sport seats for 2,87,000. USB-C interface in the rear for 34,000. Last but not the least, this two-tone interior color scheme, black with bordeaux red, that is another 1.5 lakh rupees. Porsche has been doing these red interiors for the longest time. That is the first time I sat in a car which had got all red interiors. That was a 911. I think it was a 997 generation 911. So Porsche have been doing red interiors. This is shouty, very blingy, but it is just so Porsche, and it is also so opulent. It screams money. In terms of the interior layout, the Panamera has the typical Porsche 5-dial layout for the cockpit, but it is a digital cockpit. The center hub, that is a tachometer. All Porsches have a big fat tacho right in the center, and you have the digital speedo. The other dials, the two dials flanking the tachometer, that can be customized. So you can get a G-force meter, you can get maps out there, you can get an analog speedo. All of that can be adjusted to what you want to look at. The infotainment screen, now that is a bit complicated. What Porsche have tried to do is eliminate as many hard buttons as possible. So you do get physical controls and these nice knurled controls for adjusting the temperature and the blower. But if you want to adjust the blower vent direction, how do you do that? For that, got to find the climate button out here. Then this indicator for the direction of the vents, you find that, and then you slide that around the screen to where you want the vent to be blowing. This honestly is not the most intuitive way to do it, and the Taycan, it takes it one step further, because in the Panamera, at least the extreme vents, that can be adjusted in good old-fashioned manner, whereas in the Taycan, even those are adjusted on the screen. So this is unnecessarily complicated. Then if you want to stick it into Sport Plus mode, so then you tap this car button out here, drive mode, Sport Plus. At least for this, you don't have to take your eyes off the road, because Porsche, they also give you this Manetino type knob. So you have this drive mode knob on the steering wheel, you twirl it, so you have normal, sport, Sport Plus, and individual, and then you have the sport response button. So you punch this button on the steering wheel. For 20 seconds, everything is in the most sporty setting. And you get ridiculous, brutal, wicked, over-the-top acceleration and performance. Gosh, this performance is something else. Until recently, this 4-liter twin-turbo engine, it also had e-performance. So it also had hybrid assist, but now that hybrid assist has been thrown away, and this is pure internal combustion. This is pure dino juice, sucking, gargling, gulping beast. It gives you wild performance, also wild fuel efficiency. I think it's been 2 hours since we've been driving, and we are almost at reserve. Nice. This car is a left field alternative to the Mercedes S-Class, because it can do luxury and it tops it all up with unbelievable performance. We move it to normal mode now, and despite these massive 21-inch tires, staggered tires, the rears are 305s, the front is 285. So despite the massive 21-inch tires, it still rides comfortably. The body movement is brilliantly controlled. These roads are not absolutely smooth. They have got ripples, but all of that is soaked in. And you have this burble from the V8 engine, the twin turbocharged 4-liter V8 engine. That's a constant companion. Never intrusive, but you always know that there is a nuclear reactor of an engine sitting right in front of you. All the other luxury cars, they have torque converter automatics, because their twin clutch gearboxes can't handle the torque, and they aren't as smooth as regular torque converters. But Porsche's PDK, their twin clutch automatic, is as smooth as a regular torque converter. and it shifts harder, faster, more precise, and more involving. I said Porsche, they are an engineering company through and through, and the way they do their control weights, the steering weight, the steering precision, the weight of the pedals, and the steering wheel, it's just right sized. It's just perfect. Puts you in the right mood for either relaxed driving or attacking corners, or attacking straights for that matter. This handling is something else for a car that is so big, so massive, so heavy, 2.1 tons. But it just flies around corners. The grip is incredible. This test is not just a review of the Panamera Turbo S. This is also an ICE versus EV comparison. First things first, the weight. You of course feel the weight in here, but I have to point out that the Panamera Turbo S is 215 kilos lighter than the Taycan. The second, strangely, the Panamera feels much bigger than the Taycan. Maybe it's the dash which is much higher. In fact, the window line on the Panamera is also much shallower. So it gives you a slightly cooped in feel, whereas the Taycan feels more airy, more open. The Taycan also has a big glass roof, whereas here you have this split sunroofs. So maybe that does make a difference. And strangely, the Panamera is only 50 mm longer in terms of wheelbase, but it feels much bigger. The Panamera overall length is around 80 millimeters more. The Panamera is actually slightly narrower than the Taycan and slightly shorter than the Taycan. So strange things, but the Panamera feels much bigger, and that tells you that the Taycan is one generation ahead of the Panamera. All the new tech, all the new research, everything has gone into the Taycan in terms of making it better to drive, in terms of shrinking its size around you, also in terms of the styling. You put the Panamera next to the Taycan. The Panamera was never a swan, but compared to the Taycan, it looks a bit like a whale. Of course, it's got that epic rear wing that pops out and slides, but apart from that, the Taycan just looks so much nicer. I think now we should jump into the Taycan and see what that Turbo S is all about. I haven't driven a Turbo S Taycan yet, so let's see if it lives up to all the hype. The first thing that you notice when you sit in the Taycan, after the Panamera of course, is that the cabin feels more roomy, more airy. Maybe that's because the scuttle height of the dash is lower, the curved display, the digital cluster, that is in this scooped out portion of the dash, so that also opens up a little bit more space. You get this massive glass roof, which is a 7 lakh rupee option, so that's not cheap. Heck, the car is not cheap. 2.33 crore rupees, and with the options loaded on this, it's gone up to around 2.8 crore rupees, so an insane amount of money. But then this is the Turbo S. This is not for regular Porsche folk. This is for the super loaded, super enthusiastic Porsche folk. And for them, oh dear, what a car. What a car. The Panamera Turbo is in itself an astonishingly fast car. Like, it's ridiculously fast. The Taycan Turbo S, well, let me just demonstrate it to you. Stick it into Sport Plus, left foot on the brake, right on the gas, launch control active. Fuck. The acceleration is mind-bending. It literally drains the blood out of your head. The Panamera Turbo, it sucks the air out of your stomach. Here, it drains the blood out of your head. Here are the options on the Taycan Turbo S, starting with the paint. Neptune Blue, that is 3,46,000. Sport Design Package in carbon is 6,75,000. Wing mirror caps in carbon, that is 2,16,000. Model designation on the door sills, that is 32,900. 21-inch wheels, that is 79,600. LED glacier blue lights, that is 68,400. Light strip with the Porsche logo in glacier blue, that is 1,03,900. Vehicle key in the body color, that is 53,700. Porsche crest on the headrest, that is 65,800. Preparation for the rear seat entertainment, that is 50,200. Porsche design clock, 1,46,000. Panoramic sunroof with variable light control, that is 7,36,000. Park assist including surround view, that is 2,06,000. The passenger display, that is 1,48,000. Porsche dynamic chassis control, that is 4,60,000. Mobile charger connect, 1,57,000. Okay, the figures. The Panamera Turbo S, that makes some 621 bhp. Here you get 616 bhp, but with overboost it goes up to 750 bhp. Total torque, wait for it, 1050 Newton meters. 1050 Newton meters of torque, and it can do these launch control runs non-stop over and over. Here it will do it 10 times consecutively as long as the batteries are up to 50 degrees centigrade. That means around 15 minutes of driving and the batteries goes up to 50 degrees centigrade. In India you'll get it in 5 minutes, and you can do these launch control runs. Get 0 to 100 in 2.8 seconds. 2.8 seconds, 0 to 100 kilometers per hour. The top speed is 260 kilometers per hour. It's limited to that, but even then, 260 kilometers per hour, how much more do you need? Okay, 315 on the Panamera, but 260, more than enough. 0 to 160 in 6.3 seconds, and it just keeps accelerating. The thing is that in the Panamera Turbo S, it's got twin turbos, and those turbos are so well designed that you rarely, if ever, feel any lag. But there is that rise and fall of revs. There is that character to the engine. Here, it is just one enormous slug of torque that just stops when you reach top speed. Otherwise, it just accelerates the G-forces. It keeps just pushing you in. I saw 1.1 Gs it pulled. It probably pulled a little bit more, but 1.1 Gs, that is phenomenal load that your body needs to take, and it just accelerates. It's just all the way till you run out of breath or you reach top speed. That's it, just pulls, 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 pulls. Astonishing. Of course, you miss the sound of a proper internal combustion engine. There's no getting away from that. Here you have something called electric sport sound, which honestly I'm not a fan of. Electric cars, the whole point is that it does this mental performance without noise, silently, calmly. Now, why do you want to add all the sound and everything? It just doesn't make any sense to me. This silent acceleration is a huge party trick on the Taycan. Now, silent acceleration is a party trick on every electric car. The difference on the Taycan is that this is one of the few electric cars that are also fun to drive. In fact, the Turbo S, is the fastest car around the Nürburgring Nordschleife and around our beautiful winding roads. Oh, what a joy to drive. It also has very good ride comfort. In fact, it goes over the speed breakers better than the Panamera Turbo. That's shocking. But that just shows the pace of advancement and development of automotive technologies. The Taycan is one generation ahead of the Panamera, and it shows in the engineering, in the R&D that has gone into it. The way it goes around these corners, it's mega. It of course has all the technologies available thrown at it. So it has active anti-roll bars, it has PDCC+, it also has a 3-chamber air suspension, everything, all of it is thrown at it. Torque vectoring plus. But it results in mega grip, mega handling. You do feel the weight, like over these ripples, there is more vertical movement. That is noticeable. But overall, it's such a silent, effortless way to munch miles. It's carrying some serious speeds, but it feels like it is doing absolutely no work. And that is a positive as well as a negative, because This does not plug you into the driving experience as much as other sports cars do. It makes all of this seem way too easy. You're not really putting in any effort. Your own skill is hardly coming into play out here. You just point it where you want to go, you step on it, and boop, it's off. That's it. You as a skilled driver is not really making much difference to it, because the car's competence, its abilities, its level is just so sky high that the car does everything. You are just the driver. But as an engineering feat, it's unparalleled. My word. But this acceleration, it makes you sit up and take notice. This kind of performance is mind-bending. This electromechanical steering, Porsche really have got it spot on. Perfect weight. Maybe at slow speeds it feels a bit too heavy, but around these roads, it's perfectly weighted. Again, like the Panamera, the pedal weights are perfect, the ergonomics are spot on. Porsche, they really do these small things very well. The thickness of the steering wheel, again, spot on. This steering wheel is actually smaller in diameter than the Panamera and feels more sporty. It feels a bit more engaging. The windowsill is lower, there is more glass area. So even though this is hardly any smaller than the Panamera, in fact it is slightly wider than the Panamera, 100mm shorter than the Panamera, but it feels smaller. It feels more agile, feels easier to drive. It just feels like a smaller car. And that's also the rear wheel steering at work. A more advanced rear wheel steering at work, obviously. What I can tell you is that over slightly bumpy corners, the Taycan does tend to get thrown around a bit, and that is slightly different to the way the Panamera handles those very same corners. You are probably carrying a little bit more speed in the Taycan because it masks these speeds so well. So that's something to be aware of, and it's a good thing that this has got massive brakes. Carbon ceramic brakes are standard on the Turbo S, 10 piston 420mm discs up front, 4 piston 410mm discs at the rear, so massive brakes. But Porsche also say that 90% of the braking is handled by recuperation, and that obviously feeds energy back into the batteries and extends the range. If you recall, the Taycan is also the first car in the world to get 800 volt technology. That means it can take ultra fast charging. So it can do 0 to 80% charge in under 23 minutes. Of course, on a more sensible home charger, the 11 kilowatt home chargers that we have, it will do 0 to 100 in around 9 hours. But that's the whole beauty of an electric car. If you have an electric car, you will obviously put a charger at home, you might put a charger in your office, and that's it. You don't have to use public charging until you go out onto highways, do long intercity drives. Otherwise, you have your chargers at your place. You don't have to stop at a petrol pump, don't have to stop at a charging station. Of course, charging takes much longer than just filling in fuel, but there is that other convenience, and of course the running costs. Now, obviously, if you're spending 2.5 crore rupees on an electric car, running costs are hardly going to matter to you. But I have to mention that if you compare this to, say, the Panamera Turbo, the running cost of the Taycan Turbo S would probably be 10%, maybe even lesser. So you do save a lot of money in the running costs. The Taycan Turbo S and the Panamera Turbo S are surprisingly similarly positioned. Both cost more or less the same. The Taycan Turbo S is 2.43 crores and the Panamera Turbo S is 2.34 crores. The size is almost the same. 50 millimeters difference in terms of the wheelbase, and that's about it. Both get the option of 21-inch wheels, adaptive air suspension, rear axle steering, also active anti-roll bars. So the whole suite of chassis and stability control systems. Which is better, the ICE or the EV? Let's find out. My first reaction was the obvious one for somebody who has been born and brought up on proper ICE motors. This engine, the V8 twin turbocharged, it is epic. The kind of performance it delivers, the character that it has, the ebb and flow of the revs, the character of that PDK gearbox, all of it really comes together, and it is an epic machine to drive. But the more you drive these two side by side, the more you lean towards the Taycan. It has an obvious advantage of being one generation ahead of the Panamera in terms of the engineering, in terms of the stability and the chassis control systems, and all of it is evident. There is also that mental performance of the electric drivetrain. So mad, in fact, that it outdoes the Panamera. How it manages that, I'm flabbergasted, but the Taycan, it outdoes the Panamera, and in every measurable aspect, apart from the noise, obviously, the Taycan is a better car. Better in terms of the interiors, better in terms of the handling. It is all around the better car. If this were a comparison test, that would be the clear winner. Except for one thing. If I were to take the Taycan home, we are 3 hours away from home, the sun is setting, I would have to wait for another 2 hours to juice it up before heading back. With the Panamera, 5 minutes, a full tank of Dino juice, and you're on your way.